Scano Saguego. So I thought, I've done videos all the way through, why not do a video for my self-assessment as well? So here goes. I've learned that the world of policy is a tricky, very tricky, but very necessary slope. The final assignment helped me realize the importance of policy and the power it holds. When we first started the course, I had no idea of how important or how much power that policy truly holds with people and within an organization. I've learned that to make an organization, a group, a school, whatever you want to call it, to function like a well-oiled machine, you must have that organization's voice. Without it, people will not truly believe in what they're doing, and ultimately it will not be successful. I see this every day in my school teaching my students. I try to make their learning relevant for them, which is not always easy, but it makes it so much easier when I just ask them what they want. So I realize that a school curriculum cannot be just whatever we want. When I say we, I mean Indigenous people, Aboriginal people. We can't just teach what we feel like teaching that day, but it must have some sort of relevance for those who are learning it. As a teacher, I want to feel pride in what I'm teaching my students, and that's not always the case as of late. I've also learned that policy writing, even though we've only begun to scratch the surface, is very tedious. You must choose your words carefully and examine every perspective and think about all the what ifs. Being a teacher has allowed me to use that lens, but also being a parent has helped me tremendously. Since my policy is around the idea of students with autism spectrum disorder, I had to consider if my son was in that classroom with a disruptive and violent student, do I even want him in the same classroom with that student? I could go on and on and on and on about it, but I think I need to save that for my critical assessment, so I'll just leave that there. As far as communicating, I don't think I had any issues with communicating for the class, other than at the start when I was sick. Because we had a small class, I was able to read over or at least skim over almost everything everyone wrote, which I really appreciated. The Zoom chat we had was absolutely fantastic. It was great to see each other and hear others, even though not everyone could attend. My favorite part of the course was actually creating the glogs and using PictoChart, which how I chose to post my reading responses. In case you didn't notice, I love creating and doing things a little bit different than the norm. Not because I want the recognition, but because it's just kind of my thing. I like doing it. I like looking at it afterwards and feeling a sense of pride knowing that I created that. I think I get that from my mom. And finally, this has been my favorite course this far in the program. There was a ton of work to do in this course, and probably the most of any of the classes I've taken so far, but all things considered, there is also a lot of learning that still has to be done. Nyawa for listening.